Welcome to Woodbury. We're going back to season 3. I did start recording this video. The commentary was terrible. Let's just see if we can give it a bit of a better go this time. New home, close off the yard, and get into the cell block. I like this mission. Very well themed. Now, our star hero is Morgan. He's not so great. By the time you get to a high difficulty, when you get hit by anything, you will be reduced to your red health bar. It doesn't matter what you do. You can try and improve your damage reduction and health with badges. It won't really make a difference past a certain point, so he's not a great hero to have. Just give him your best weapon. If you've got the riot shields, they heard things, that's great. Any weapon that hits multiple targets, maybe weapons that have funky abilities like ensnaring, anything like that. Just try and squeeze some use out of him and have him as leader for as long as you can so you get those extra stars. I'm also bringing Tyrese. I love the idea of being able to herd walkers with this S-pole. And I'm also going to bring Connie with a weapon which can reduce threat. Let's get to it. So this mission, I think this is just a perfect example of what a mission in this game should really be like. It really evokes the feel of Woodbury. This is something that the characters did. This is a fairly long mission, and it does have a threat counter as well. So you better be prepared for that. What you could do is have ranged characters with quiet weapons, melee characters. Obviously, their weapons are silent. Maybe you're going to have things that reduce threat, just like Connie's weapon here as well. But this is a mission that can take a while. That's definitely not a problem. Don't forget that you're going to have to close this, and you need to clear the path first before pushing. It could be that Glenn is a good option for this one, precisely because, of course, you could do that. You'd be able to close off this little alleyway and still have an action point left. Connie's kind of doing that because she's got Swift Strike on her weapon. Closing that off, that's the first thing. You've got lots and lots of walkers that you're going to have to finish off first. There's a lot of walkers start on screen from the very start in this mission. So you better be ready for them. You don't have to rush it, but obviously there's more walkers coming out every turn. If you don't take care of that threat counter, then you're just going to get surrounded. So you've got to be ready for it. When you are closing this door, it takes 2 turns, and walkers still come out from the bottom of the screen. You could always just rush to the end, although you're still going to have to close that skip there. So I suggest patience for this mission. It's definitely one of my favorite missions. I think it really suits this mission set. This is exactly what the characters had to do before getting into the prison. It's a good one. It's a tough one. You're going to have some tough walker types as well that you've got to deal with, so you better have some characters who can hit hard, or have characters like Mercer or Tyrese who can inflict damage against the enemy no matter what. Maybe setting light to some of those armoured walkers, tougher walkers. That's an option as well. It's a pretty tricky mission. It's a pretty challenging mission. I will give it that. Prison cellar. Regroup and escape. Ooh, is this the mission that I think it is? Yes, it is. Very interesting episode mission. Something that's quite distinctive is the fact that you start separated. I'm guessing, I think that portrait order determines where your characters start. So you see that Morgan started on the left there, Tyrese in the middle, Connie on the right. So you might want to plan that before you even start the mission. You might want to consider whose portrait is where. because that will determine who's all by their lonesome. You know, you could have the slower characters at the back. Having Connie here, starting here, that was absolutely fine because she can just very quickly rush ahead, catch up with everybody else. Walkers just flood out of this mission. They do. They just pour out of there. Having some way to slow them down or otherwise deal with them is very, very useful. This is a really tricky mission. I'll definitely say that. Let's put a debuff circle there. Slow them down. Just keep marching forward. At least we don't have a threat counter, but there's so many walkers appear just from everywhere on this mission. Gonna have to deal with a lot of normal walkers very, very quickly. You have to literally cleave your way through to the exit because they just keep coming. I don't know if perhaps they stop after a certain amount of time. I might give it a go. Let's give it 6 turns. Let's see if that is something that happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't look like they have any intention of stopping, does it? 5. 6. I mean, I'm going to just sort of say I think that they just keep coming. It doesn't matter what you do. So you're going to have to be able to fight through all of these guys. It's a tricky one. Characters like Beta and Huntsman Daryl might be useful because obviously you can rush past walkers. You have to do a bit of a stand and fight there at the end no matter what. I suggest getting your characters gathered up together so that they're not isolated as soon as possible. Think about where they're going to be placed when you spawn in. You can, of course, at the end, when you're trying to get to that green bar, it's made oh so difficult by the fact that walkers just flooding out from the left side of the screen. You could distract them with the Whisperer's Mask, with flares, stun them with stun grenades, that kind of thing. I mean, you also shove walkers when you use that blast grenade. All you got to do is get onto that green bar and flee. They're going to be clogging it up, but there are ways of getting them attracted away from it, or otherwise just forcibly removed. Tough mission. It is a tough mission. What do we got? Nice. Whoops. Okay. Fenced off. Get out together. Okay, I know this one. Pretty sure that there is a threat counter on this. Let's have Yumiko and Rick. Sure. Again, your characters are going to start separated. And I think that this is based on the order that they are in the group. So the person at the bottom of the group, the portrait at the bottom, will be the one who is separated from everybody else at the top of the screen. So you definitely want to make sure that it's somebody who can take care of themselves for a while. We've got a threat counter. That's not very helpful. We do have at least one big scary walker type. Obviously that increases as we go up in difficulty. And really you're going to need, if you have Morgan as the lead, absolutely fine. Of course, you're going to do that to get the extra stars. It might well be worth having a ranged character with him who can just provide a little bit of fire support to whoever is up there trapped. Soon as you open that gate, you can get the heck out. What you could do is, I mean, you could have Yumiko, Connie opening the gate, say that she's here, have your other character here, have your character here. They'll get charge points. They'll benefit from her better together skill. If it's a ranged character opening that gate and you have Yumiko nearby, and the character engaged with opening the gate is within range of and can see the target that Yumiko is shooting at, then they will shoot at it as well, which is kind of handy as well. So, for the most part, you're probably going to be bringing Morgan so that you get those extra stars. Just have him open the gate because he ain't that useful, quite frankly. May as well give him some kind of purpose. Okay, moving into the prison. It says welcome to Woodbury, but this seems more sort of like prison-themed stuff. Kind of makes sense, but... Death trap. Reach the exit. Let's go with our little ranged backup again. Oh yeah, this one. So, threat counter, something to consider. Kind of a closed environment, this one. And this blind bit here in the middle is just horrible. A number of times I've had something just jump out from there. Okay, let's not draw any more attention than we need to. Morgan gets to open the door because, hey, at least that makes some use out of him. So it's a small map. I mean, you're going to know pretty damn quickly whether you succeeded or not because it's quick. Unlike that first mission that we did, this is nice and quick and easy. Not too much to sort of say there. I mean, somebody like Tyrese who can slow down all of the walkers with that debuff circle, characters with weapons that cripple, ensnare, stop the walkers from getting to you while you're opening that door. Really, really helpful, obviously. Just watch out for walkers jumping out at you as you move past the sort of middle part of that screen. You're completely blind to it. You can't see around those servers. You're going to have to be ready just in case something is there waiting for you. The breach. Kill the walkers. What broke the fence? Okay, yeah, again, this is a bit of a nightmare of a mission. This is a tough one. I would say that this is a fairly tough set of missions. Again, we have characters being separated. And there's some fun little tricks to this mission. So, looked like Morgan was the one on the right side of the screen, away from everybody else. When we kill these walkers, another part of the mission will trigger. So let's get in position, and that is here. Bad guys are going to come flooding out of that trailer, and they're going to come out to surround us, including a tank. You're definitely going to want to slow him down. You know, whatever you can do, just so that you don't have to deal with him immediately. It's very frustrating because while this person closing the gate is completely helpless, they're just being surrounded by walkers. They're coming from all angles. It's a tricky one. Maybe things like assault weapons with a wide arc and crippling, they will at least slow the walkers down. One of your characters is going to be pretty helpless for a couple of turns closing up that trailer, but don't kill the last walker who started on the screen until you are ready to start working on that door. Flips open the moment you kill that last walker that was initially there. You want to be in position, you want to be ready for when that happens. Of course, when you are closing that door, there's nothing you can do, you're being surrounded, you could always just throw some flares, Whisperer's Mask, that kind of thing, just to make it so that you are buying some time until your guy is ready to turn around and start fighting again instead of closing that door. Set the explosives and blow up the tank. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. This is, funnily enough, another really tricky one. Yeah, keep that. Morgan. Let's give you that so at least you can herd walkers. Seems to be a bit of a theme with these missions. You got lots and lots of walkers to deal with, but there are times when just being able to distract them is going to be very, very useful. Let's get straight in there. Okay, no threat counter, so that's something. You could be as noisy as you want with this particular mission. Speaking of which, reason why I picked Glenn. We can do that. My gosh, definitely all of these missions, there's just places where walkers just come flooding out. That didn't hurt anyone. That's really strange. We're going to have to set these explosives, and then we have to go and detonate them up here as well. And everybody has to be out of the way. Otherwise, they get hurt. It's just, this is a real tricky one. What can we say? I think that Glenn is a very good choice here, simply because he can set those explosives and then still act. I think that being able to do things like herd the walkers so that you can more easily rush past them, very useful. If anybody does have any specific issues with this or any of the other missions, just sort of say I'm sort of finding it a little tough to come up with strategies along the lines of, hey, do this, this, and this, and you'll easily win this mission, because these are quite changeable. Depending on where the walkers are placed when you spawn in and everything, it can change the complexion of that mission. In a lot of instances, I think you might be more distracting the walkers than trying to kill them. It's a tough mission set. It's tough. Some of these are pretty lengthy missions. Some of them are very tough with unique challenges. And we've got a star hero who's frankly not that great. But hopefully you can do well. Just see it as a challenge for you and your guild. Again, if you do have any particular dramas, if you're really struggling in any particular way, just let me know. Either I or somebody else in the community will help. Good luck. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.